Okay, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We've got a pretty diverse group that's calling in from many continents. So I'm happy to be here with you, and I appreciate the time that you've taken out for the demo today of the Trusted Family platform. Before I get started, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Elvira Orza. I head up the Americas team at Trusted Family. I've been with Trusted Family for 7 years now. Joined in 2014 to develop the Americas market along with Edward Thiessen, who is our current CEO. And here today to present the platform, and we're going to do a deep dive. Now, we have a lot of people on the line. We've got some family members and family office staff and a very diverse crowd. So I'm going to do my best to allow you to see the platform and how it could be used by all. So before that, just so you know, Trusted Family provides a secure technology platform to manage really the board, the shareholders, and the family. And what that means is that whatever that takes as far as management. So we basically have a platform that has tools to manage pretty much everything that you would need to manage those diverse groups. Meetings, workflows, sensitive information, and communication as well. In our case, our clients and the people that we're talking to, we specialize mainly in the family business and family office market. So our clients are always dealing with some type of a complexity issue. As you know, in transitioning from one generation to the next, the family gets bigger. It spreads out geographically sometimes. You know, some members have an active role in the business, and some don't have an active role. There's more diversity in the family. You may have different ownership stakes once you get to like the second and the third, fourth generations. And at that point, with the complexity, boards and committees get created. And the idea being that each one of these constituent groups has a need for information. So we've built a platform to give that transparency and to manage that effectively. See, these are some of the challenges that you'll face. And this presentation will be providing slides and will also be recorded. So I'm not going to go through all of the, list out all the challenges, but as you know, in different boards, shareholders, family members, they have different challenges and they have different desires and they have different needs. So basically, we're about trying to manage that whole complicated group. We understand your challenges. I mentioned my CEO previously. This is our two company founders, Edward Thiessen on the left and Edward Johnson on the right. They founded the company back in 2008, 2009 as a project for their own families. They were in the sixth, seventh generation in two separate businesses. And then it became, what started as a project became a business. And we are currently in over 156 family businesses serving over 6,000 users through the platform every month. These are just some of the examples of some of the companies that allow us to speak about them, and they're willing to vouch for us. So we have a thriving business, and we're looking forward to greeting and welcoming more families all the time. So I am going to present the Trusted Family platform, and what I'd like to do is just ask if you have any questions. I'm going to spend about a half an hour. I promised a deep dive, so I'm going to try to do my best to give us a deep dive. And you can ask questions. You can raise your hand and ask a question in the chat. And if we don't get to your questions, we'll try to get to them during the presentation or right afterwards. We're going to take some time afterwards, or we can send you those in email afterwards. So I'm going to stop that share, and I'm going to do a new share, and I'm going to introduce you to the Wayne family. This is the Wayne family. They are a fictitious demo family. And this is their login page. So today we're gonna spend most of our time on the browser. In fact, we're gonna spend all the time on the browser, but just know that we do have a native apps for both the iPad, iPhone, and Android devices. But today we're gonna talk mostly about the web version. And so you have your basic login screen. And what you can do here, as you can see, the Wayne family has branded it for their colors and their logo. But also there's things that you can do around the platform for security purposes. So for example, we could disable the remember me. We can make your passwords very complicated if you'd like to do that. You can add two-factor authentication. We have two app-based Google Authenticator, Authy, and we're just rolling out an SMS-based authenticator. So there's a lot of security that happens even before you sign on. So in the cases of the mobile apps, we also support biometric login. So, Face ID, fingerprint ID. So again, and then as far as the security question, we could talk for a long time about security. So we're happy to send you information, a whole overview. And if you, want to talk to us about it, we're happy to put you in touch with our chief security officer and really take a deep dive into the security aspect. Okay, so here we are on the homepage, and what you see is a very familiar layout, and that is for a good reason. We've had a news feed since the beginning of the platform, and this goes back a long time for the initial one in 2008. And the reason for that is that you like to have a flow of information. And we also know that in families and in businesses, you might have a wide kind of variety of tech savviness and what people are used to seeing. So we wanted to make the platform very easy for people to follow and to understand, to know what they're looking at, and have a very easy navigation. So you basically have here is your newsfeed, and you've got a flow of information. And that's based on one of the real key concepts of the Trusted Family platform is that you have groups of people that require different access to information. Okay, so in this case, we have shareholder information, and I've posted the proxy for the shareholder meeting, and I would like my shareholders to make sure that they see that. Information security around Trusted Family, my family office is going to be the one who reviews that. So, but I also want all the family members to be quite educated about keeping themselves, and keeping us all safe online. Again, if we have a board meeting, we have access to the board agenda and so on. And so we can also, another feature of the platform, you can manage your calendars and your family properties. And here we have the family members who have access to that. So that's kind of the news feed and your flow of information. There's other things you can interact with that information as well. You can you can comment, you can notify people about it, and you can have conversations about information. Okay. So that's the news feed. Now I wanted to just talk a little bit about a couple of concepts. And as I mentioned, there's one concept of people management, and then there's information management, right? So we have a group of shareholders and family members. And when we start to work with companies, we like to understand who are the people in that organization. Who are the family members? The shareholders are maybe a subset, and the family members may include spouses and minors and people who aren't necessarily owners. We would have our board on here. Now, what you're seeing, just to take a little step back, is that you're seeing a view of someone who is very active in a family organization. So I would be considered, kind of a power user, but also like a family member, a shareholder, somebody who's involved in all these groups. And not everybody would be, but each person would have their own profile based on their needs for information and their memberships in a group, and as well as their members as an individual. Okay. Let me just close that one out. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have these groups, and those groups can be open, closed, or secret, and they can also be subgroups. And then the next thing that we want to do is we want to think about the members and putting those members in that group. So that, again, we're still talking about managing families. So we would go in and we would say, we're going to add a member, and we're going to define everything, their view on the platform and what they have access to. And I'm not going to get into total, I did promise a deep dive. We're going to get semi-granular, but as you can just see here, I'll be adding a new person, and I can add them to the family tree if they happen to be a family member. If they're not a family member, I can, delete that. And then I'm going to invite them to the platform and say, I'm going to decide what their profile is. Well, yes, this is a family member, and she happens to be a shareholder. She's not on the board. She's on the family council. She's also the chair of the education committee. And then I will save that. That would generate, here I'll cancel, but I would save that. That would generate an email, and then she'd come back onto the platform. So as I mentioned, we have a few key concepts. One is that idea about permissions and giving people access to the information that they need to be as transparent as we need to be, but not to give everybody access to everything. The second thing is that the platform is very customizable. As you can see, like these are groups. We have an easy way to define our groups. We can add a group, we can delete a group. And that's all customizable. Again, the same for your menu here. Your menu is composed of two things. It's composed of applications, where that's like we have an events application, a survey app, a members directory, that they behave like applications. And the rest are document databases or file folders. And so that's how we distribute information within the family. So I'll just go into the member directory, which I showed you earlier how to add a member. So now we have a member directory, a kind of mini CRM, where we can track and filter information on everybody who is in our family database. Now you can see here, we're looking at registered users. That's the most important thing, is people who are actually interacting with the platform, okay? And then each person will have a profile where we can track some default information, contact, bio, work and education, but we can also add things. We can add, we added talent management recently, just to help track information that could help families identify talented individuals who might serve on boards or in the company or other sorts of things. But we've also, these are customizable fields, and you can track pretty much anything you want, from investments, entities, trusts people are part of, medical information, blood type. We've seen a lot. So, and then you can also filter that information. So if I want to see somebody who, is located in a certain area, maybe let's see, hopefully someone will have filled it out. Then we just, can say Belgium, and let's see who we have. Okay. Oh, wow, we have quite a number of people. So let me just back out of that one. Again, so you've seen the member directory. There's a lot also that you can do. You can manage their accounts and, as an admin as well. So let me see. Okay, so from there, you've seen the member directory. And then the next important concept is about information categories. So again, this is very customizable. Everything from Wayne Corporation through private vaults. These are individual databases or document storage areas. And then within there, there's quite a lot that you can do. So we would say, the idea being anyone in the company could have access to a file area called Wayne Corporation. But clearly all of the information that is in here is not appropriate for everyone to see. So for example, you might have your press articles, and that is clearly something that you would let, you might let all the family members see. Oh, darn it, sorry. Let me get here. So what we want to do is take a look at this. So right here, we are in press articles, and you can see that we have all family members who have access to that folder. Okay. Now we might want to go into shareholder meetings, and this was a test. So let's just remove that one. Sorry about that. By the way, that is one of the most popular things on the platform sometimes, is babies and dogs. But let me just go back into shareholder meetings. So as you can see, I've allowed everybody to have access to my Wayne Corporation folder, because there's so much information that everyone needs to have. So whether you're a shareholder or you're a manager or an executive, you still want to have information about the family business. You don't want to have people learning about things in the press. So you want to make sure that you have all that information there. The other thing, so you have shareholder meetings, and again, you only want the shareholders and the board to be able to see those as well. So it's a way of organizing information. Another thing, it's a kind of detail, but you also have like a customizable view of things. Again, one of the other concepts that I mentioned is about customization, and it's also about being, having a very friendly user interface and, kind of fun UX. So we have the ability for people to kind of and this is not just admin, any user could organize their information at the way they want to see it. So you can do alphabetical, you can do chronological, et cetera. So there's a lot that you can do there. And then you can also, do pictures. So if we want to make it engaging, we want to engage, the next generation or other people into looking at our information, because that's really the end of the day, is that you want people to have information. And then on the actual document level, there's quite a lot that you can do. So as you can see, we'll go back into an actual document. We have this proxy, and I've requested I've posted this information. I've given access to the shareholders, and I've requested a signature. So as you can see here, I have a signature that came in. And it's not giving me the view on it yet. So let's go and look at something else. So that's kind of odd, but you do anyway. So as I posted that and I got the signature, and it might be just processing because I just requested that. So that might be why you can't see it. But so other things that you can do, let's go into the board package. So when you're inside of a document, there's other things that you can do. So you can always give access to different people, and that's something you'll see throughout the platform. You can also see who has seen your information. So you're always knowing if you're reaching your audience and you're giving them the information that they need. Other things that you can do on this board package, there's different views. You can see all of the information, how you've annotated it. You can look at your table of contents. You can do a search. You have your full annotation here. You can underline and have all the information that you would need at the ready. So, and these, by the way, are private annotations for you. And then you can also collaborate on documents with other people. So I can have a running conversation with my other board members. So I'm going to go back. Let's see where we are. So one of the things, just speaking about the board and the board meetings, and one aspect of, typically, as we know that in family businesses, we may have people who are involved. We might have some external board members, and then we also have some family member boards. So as I mentioned earlier, you're looking at a view of someone who has a lot of information, and I might be on the board, but we might have an external board member. And do we want them to see everything that the family sees? Not necessarily. So we can actually hide that information from the external board. So if they're just a board member, they're only going to see the board information and anything that actually pertains to them. So they'll see other board members, as you can see here, the filter, and they'll see that information that is relevant to them. And then they can collaborate. Again, you can collaborate with people who you were sharing a group with. It kind of getting, there's a lot to show you on a deep dive. So I'm gonna just keep moving on. And again, we'll get to the questions in a few minutes, but I wanted to get through some of the basic functionality. So you've seen with what we have on our document databases. And these, as I mentioned, these are all customizable. So whatever information that is important for you to track, you can include that on your menu. So for example, here we have all of our family office information, and that will pertain to, you might have stuff about your liquid investments or other concierge services, however you use your family office. Then, you might, and this is a big use case for a lot of our clients, to have an area where they have legacy information. You have family history. You can have, companies that are related to the family. So ways to share that information. You can archive your genealogy. And so these are just kind of use cases, but the functionality is the same. This happens to be an article that was created inside the platform. So this is just another example of how you can collaborate on information. So this is a document that was created by Beta. It was shared to all the family members. And we are able to collaborate on a document or a project. Now, this is a kind of longer one, but this just gets to, can show you how you can use the article creator, which is kind of our answer to a Google document collaboration tool. Again, these are, different document databases, but I do want to click on this just to kind of highlight another use case. So here what you have is private vaults. So one of the things we can do, and we're doing a lot, is setting up private vaults for your family members where they can store their own personal information, where they can surface the financial managers can surface private documents that pertain to single individuals or to households or couples or whoever is sharing that. And again, we can do the same thing for by entity or by investment. So if I go into, I don't want to get too crazy here, but I'm just going to go into another platform that we created where, oops, here we go, that is more kind of investment oriented. It's the family office platform. It's separate, but as you can see here, where we might classify that information in a different way. So the reason I'm showing you this, I don't want to confuse things. I'm just showing you that there's a lot of different customization that you can do, really based on how you work as a team, how you work as a family, how you work as a business, and the interaction of those individual groups. So with that, that kind of, and again, I'm happy to answer questions at the end of this presentation or, in more detail on the documents itself. So let's just go into, so the next really main use case obviously is the events. And so all of the documents are supporting meetings, and there's clearly a lot of need for calendaring. And so you basically have an events module that has multiple calendars, and it's actually got one calendar that you can filter on. So it will act that way. So you basically have the ability to sync this trusted family calendar with any of your other external calendars. So your iCal, Google, Outlook, or other one. So if you don't have to maintain two different calendars. This can flow all that information that pertains to you out into your other calendar. So you can see as, I can view this as a calendar, or I can view it as a list. I personally like lists, but just for the purposes of this. So you'll have everything that pertains to you will be in your list or on your calendar. So again, here we can see there's this annual shareholder meeting, and the access level is for the family members, for Edward who created it, and the shareholders. So we can all either see or edit it. And he will, the person who creates that will be able to give you either edit access or view only access. And that's another thing that's kind of, throughout the platform. So you basically have everything on here. If you have a physical meeting with an address, it will geocode. That's for post-COVID when we start meeting again in person. And you can also add photos and agendas and links to other things so that if you have a big meeting or even a small meeting, you're able to have all the information that somebody would need for that meeting. So if I'm going to the shareholder meeting, maybe I want to have, our annual report, shareholder reports, investment reports, everything that I need is going to be all there, and given access to just the people that need that. So you have that. You also have an invitation management system in the platform. So if I am sending out invitations, I can also keep track of them without having to run after people and check their invitations. Are you coming or you're not coming? The platform will do everything for you. And just click on here. I'll just show you. So I can see really everybody who can see the event, who's attending, who said maybe, who said yes, who said no. And then I can resend those invitations just to the people that actually need it. So I don't have to send it to everybody again, and the platform will keep track of that. Other things that you can do here, at the meeting level is you can, again, I'm clicking on some of the more widely used aspects of it, but you can ask questions about hotel rooms, voting preferences for food, etc. So you really can manage all of your events right here. And then I've also, we were just doing some work on, planning property, sharing, managing shared property calendars. So, you're able to do that through here as well. And there's a whole bunch of things that support that, so from the actual booking, which takes me to the surveys module that we have. You can have a booking form within the surveys. So if you're looking to, request some vacation property, or if you are actually going to be booking that, let's see, there's a whole lot of other things that you can do with the surveys module. So just quick surveys to the family, or in-depth ones. So this kind of it behaves like a typical survey software where you can ask questions that are multiple choice, multiple answers, open-ended questions, yes or no, time and date. You can use it for planning events, and then you can also make it an anonymous survey if you want. If you're asking questions and you want people to be brutally honest, you can do that. And then you can also export all that information, and you can, analyze your results and take a look at what you've gotten so far. So we didn't get too many responses on this particular one, but that's okay. So yeah, so a couple other things as far as applications. There is a family tree, which I had mentioned earlier, and there's not much in here. I'm going to have to center that on someone else. The family tree is integrated to the member directory. So let's see if we can look at someone who has more connections in the family tree. So yeah, there. So there we go. So we've got this person who has more connections, and you could see that, who their parents are and everybody's profile page. You can also center that, center the tree on someone. And it will also give you a lot of information. If this is a lineage tree, so showing partners is a kind of secondary, it's a kind of afterthought, but you can have your partners in there, and then it will give you all the information, the profile information that is recorded in the member directory, and you'll see it here. So that's kind of a nice to have, especially for some of our larger families. A couple other points, this newsletters app, if you are writing newsletters, this is a kind of, it's a way of, it's actually, and I didn't talk too much about the information flow outside of the platform, but I'll use this time now. Anything that you post to a platform, to this particular platform, you will not have to send an email. That you will notify somebody, and it will trigger a push notification on their phone if they happen to have the app loaded. It will also trigger an email, so you'll get notified in 2 different ways. The newsletter is the only thing where the actual newsletter will land in their email. So for example, what you see here is what will be what will land in the email. However, the great thing about this is that you can click on, you can add links to things within the platform. So within and throughout the platform, and you'd be able to share that information and send people, drive them to your platform, and they'll be able to see it. But there's some tracking information you can do as well. So you can make these beautiful photos and make things more engaging, and then you can click on it and they will come directly to the platform, whatever they click on, and they'll find. So that just brings me to the idea of kind of knowing who's seeing your information and tracking that information. Now, I'm kind of going through the menu here, but these projects and consulting, these are also separate databases. So for example, if I've got some projects that I want to work on, I can have a menu that takes me straight there. And maybe I'm doing some work here on an investment policy or updating the family constitution. These are all the things that you can do there. But let me go back down. What I wanted to draw your attention to is the admin panel. So the great thing about this is that you can always see how active your investment is, if you're getting a return on your investment, and are people really using it, where they are and what they're doing. Now, one of the things that you don't, let me just see here. I'm going to have to check with development and see why. Oh, there it is. Okay, just taking me a minute. Yep, it just needed a second to load. So basically what you're seeing here, you're getting to see the user engagement and you're getting to see the content that they're engaging with. And so what you have, you've got, and one thing we don't do is we don't follow anybody around. I'm not going to tell you, well, Elvira went here, there, clicked on this and, viewed that, that sort of thing. But we do get to see that, how many visits, how many views, create some comments. What's great about this is that, as you can see, there are people who are actively viewing and they're on the platform, but they're not making a lot of noise. So you wouldn't necessarily know that they're there, but it's good to know that they are consuming, because in most of these kind of situations, that fewer people are creating most of the content. And then also you can find out, what people are engaging with, what are the things that are so important to them. In the case of this platform, there's a lot of profile views because we're demonstrating, but shareholder meetings, personal folders, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can use that to inform, the information that you do going forward. So I just going to, I think that we're getting to the point where we're like a half an hour in. So I think maybe I will take a couple of questions at this point. Let's see, what do we have? Okay. Will all members be able to see all menu items on their main news feed? So I think that that might have come in a little bit earlier, but let me explain that, because I did kind of touched on it a little bit. So no, what you can do is that you can, like I showed you earlier here, right, the board members will not see all the menus, right? And you can do that. That's a setting that you can do as an admin, that you can go in and you can see just, you can decide what they get to see and what they don't get to see, right? So here I'm allowing all the family members to see it. But in the case of the board, I think that was the only one for this particular platform where we hid the menu. And that's a setting where an admin can go in, a network admin can go in and decide what's going to go on there. Let's see if there were any other. Okay, we have a question. Can you export the contact info from profiles to an Excel spreadsheet for mailing list? Or yes, you actually can. And the great thing, so not everybody can do that though. The member directory, obviously people's profile information is important and it's sensitive. So we don't want to make it 100% available to everyone, but the network admin can, and they can choose different fields, what they want to. They have an export here. So you can export information and then you can have your options of which information that you want to export. So we could just do, name and address, name and phone number, name and email, whatever it is that you'd like to do. But again, it's only available to network admin. So you won't have all of your other information doing that. Okay, let's see. I had a question on storage. Is there a limit on how many? Is there a limit on how many devices can be logged into one account at the same time? That I'll have to get back to you on that question. I don't know if there's a limit. I don't know if it's actually, let's see. Let's see where we are. I know that you can't have two people on one device, that's for sure. Let's see. As far as, I did see another question on data storage. There's no limits to data storage. You can post photos, videos, audio files, like any type of data that you can post to, say, a SharePoint or Dropbox. You're able to do that. And we've got a bunch of videos here. So you could also do links to, you can post links to other things, but you can absolutely upload video files and audio files. We had another question. So we do have a chat. It's not, there is a private messaging app in the platform. So as you can see here, we can have one-to-one questions and private conversations with individual users. So I can just compose and I can, ask a question and I can attach a file to it so we can have private one-on-one conversations. And I had a question about integrating with conference others. So we don't actually have integrations with video conferencing tools. The only thing that we will be having is when you, if you're using a Zoom or other, and you are setting up a meeting, we'll be able to have, but we don't have that right now, but it's coming up where in the calendar, you can actually add that information, it will automatically generate. But one thing that we have seen, and we've seen a lot of it, especially in the past year with COVID, a lot of our meetings and were being recorded, and we're able to store those Zoom calls on the platform for private viewing later. And then also, you're not having to. It's one thing you don't necessarily want to do is share a lot of documentation on those Zoom calls, because sometimes they're private. Sometimes they're not. So what you would do, you share the sensitive information, and each person has their individual access on their own platform. So you're not looking at the same thing on a potentially, unsafe site. So I don't know, depending on which ones you're using. So let's see. Let's see. Okay, I got this question about activity for a user. Can you click on a member profile and see exactly what documents or articles they viewed and when? So we don't want to do that, because that is like what you can do. Okay, we can see the information that they've posted, right? We could look at their activity, and we could also, get to know that let's see, he doesn't have a whole lot of activity here, but yeah, it's kind of a privacy thing, because we don't want to see, that what particular things people are viewing. You don't want to follow anybody around and kind of invade their privacy and say, well, somebody's looking at this profile or looking at something else. But you can do it on the document level. So I can find out, if I need to know. So for example, I requested a signature from Beta, right? So I would like to know, if I haven't received it, I would want to know, did she see it? But now I know because she signed it. But, if I'm waiting for her signature, I want to know that she has seen it. So I can go in and say, yeah, I'm looking for that particular person to see that document. What I don't do is go to Beta's profile and see that she's been here, there, and everywhere. So question. Yes, I would be absolutely happy to have a question for a one-on-one chat. I would be happy to have a call with anybody if you want to go even deeper on this, or if you have any other, questions. Happy to set up a call. I'm going to join the Wayne family from. Yeah, that's a funny question. Let's see. Yeah, so I will respond to the person who requested the personal meeting. If there's any questions of people wanting to join Trusted Family, from anywhere in the world, you could let us know. So what you can do is go to our website. It's trustedfamily.com. So trustedfamily.com, and from wherever you are in the world, someone in your time zone or someone when you request with your location, we'll have someone in your area. We've got the Americas division, which covers Canada, US, Central and South America. We have an EMEA and APAC division that's based in Brussels. So somebody in one of those areas will be happy to set up a call with you. And I would be happy to set up a call with you, but you can go to our website. You can make an appointment with me as well. Ask any questions that you have. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Questions, bank and broker. Yeah, we had the document storage questions. Yeah, we got that. Okay, somebody from Mexico, great. Let's see. Okay, I think we have all the questions. Were there any other questions? Are foundations using our platform? Absolutely. That's a great question. So we don't have grant software, but the way that foundations use the platform, so we've got a number of our families that actually have private foundations. So the basic use for that is really, it's about sharing that information, managing the people who are in the foundation, sharing that information with other with the family, and making sure that everybody knows what's going on, and you're able to really like kind of bring those things to life. So yeah, for all the reasons, I mean, other than the grant management, but we also have like using the survey function. We have clients that are surveying their family, annually, like what how do you want to use your your charitable donations, also for family members to share with each other, that sort of thing. Last final. Okay, yes, a question about preventing and restricting download or your printing. So we can absolutely restrict the download of any document. When you post it, you can click on it. It says, disable the download, so people can't download it. My chief security officer will always remind me after I say that, is to say, we can't keep people from screen printing it. But even if you could, because there is software that can do that, you still can't stop people with really bad intentions. But for the most part, people don't have bad intentions. They just might be a little bit, might be, careless. But this really will help you in many ways, from, allowing people to open that document in 20 different places. So, you always have control over it. And you can always know, even if you don't disable the download, you'll know who downloaded your document as well. So just by going to this particular point here, right, I can see not just views, but I can also see total engagements, and I can see the downloads and opens. Okay, a little question about pricing. I'm happy to have a conversation about that if anybody's interested. We have we're very transparent about our pricing. It takes two parts to it. One is a subscription model. So we have basically, it's a, by user. It starts at $6,000 US for a package of 10 people. And that's an annual subscription, and it goes up. So, it's a kind of sliding scale. So up to like 100 users, you're looking at about 18,000. And I'm happy to talk to you about anything in between. There's also a fee for implementation advisory, which is sliding. Really depends on how much you need, how much advisory work that you need with us. But there is kind of a basic fee that covers a couple months worth of advisory, where we get you up and running and training, and customization of the platform, customizing your groups and your menus. So, I'm happy to talk about that, but that's pretty much the range. So if you're interested, you can just, contact me, and I'll give you, more specifics based on your actual situation. Let's see, were there any others? Yeah, the support level. So every client has a dedicated client success manager. Just with your subscription, you have somebody who's in your time zone, or for the Americas, we have Pacific Coast. You've got up to Central Europe time. So you do have somebody for any questions about support, technical issues, et cetera, et cetera. So you do get to talk to an actual person with your platform. So yes, I am personally in New York. I'm not outside of the city. So we have someone in New York. We've got client success in Virginia, in Tennessee. We have a colleague and someone in Calgary. Well, we're pretty much all over, but I'm personally based in New York. Okay. Let's see, is this cloud-based, or does it fall within organizations IT? So here's the way that works. We have actual physical data centers. We have 2 main ones, and each of those have backup. So we have 2 hosting options where you could be hosted in Europe, or you could be hosted, and that's in Belgium, or you could be hosted in the USA, which is in Texas. Okay, so, and then each of those have backup. So you're accessing you actually have a physical server where your information is, and you're accessing that to the cloud, but they're actual physical data centers. And they are proprietary. It's two places, Armor and Sencha, who have private server farms. So we don't, it's not like Amazon or Azure or something like that. So, and those are your two options. They are equivalent as far as the certifications and the security and the encryption. And again, if you're interested in talking more, I'm happy to continue the conversation and really take a deeper dive on the whole security and setup on the infrastructure. Okay, I think that's, if I don't see any other questions coming in. Yeah, well, thank you all for your great questions and your attention, and taking the time out of your day. We will be following up with the recording of today's session, and if there's any other questions, you can ask us then, or really go to trustedfamily.com, or you can contact me, elvira.orza@trustedfamily.com, and I would be happy to speak with you. That's it. So thanks everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and happy April Fool's Day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.